of his teaching. And so Paul saw the possibility of that young Christian church. How old was the Christian church at the writing of when Paul wrote this? Evidence, external, internal, shows us that he probably wrote, this was his first letter he ever wrote. And so probably it's around 48, 49, 50 to 52. How long has the early church, how long has the Christian church been in existence?
20 years.
20 years. Would this be young? Yes, of course it would. But Paul saw what was happening in the church of Galatia. Here was the possibility of the entire Christian church self-destructive overnight. And this was so important to him to let the people know that where they were headed in their teaching is going to be self-destructive. Here's what a group, and as we discovered as we studied chapter 1 at our last study, there was a group that had come into the Galatian church. Were they Christian? Yes. They were former Jews who have converted to Christianity. And when you have an inheritance of generations and generations and generations and generations of a certain way of thinking, it's hard to change that. And so these Jews acknowledged that Jesus was the Messiah. They said, we want to be Christians, and so they joined the Christian church in Galatia. But then, this group, here's what they were saying. I'm going to put this in the vernacular in the modern day. This is what they were saying about Paul. Right? They were saying to their fellow Christians, don't listen to Paul. Stop listening to Paul. Listen to the apostles, the first apostles that walked with Jesus, the 12. But don't listen to Paul. After all, he's not an apostle anyway. And they were saying, Paul is some soft-hearted liberal. He is talking about free grace. And we know that nothing is free. You have to earn the favor and love of God. There's no cheap grace. You have to earn it. This is what they were saying about Paul. Now, those of you who know Paul and know his teaching, his background, his story, Damascus Road and all that everything, how do you think that would grab Paul? Man. And so what Paul is doing in his letter to the Galatians, he is actually trying to counter what is being said about